And we're going to start in a seated position. So I'm going to give you some options here. If you are comfortable in a cross-legged position, go ahead and come into that position. If you feel that your hips are really tight, it would be nice to take a block and just raise the sit bones higher than the knees. So if that doesn't work for you and your knees are a little ornery, you can sit on a block and you can just send the legs straight out if that's comfortable for you. And the other option would be to come into hero's pose, where you send the knees behind, where you're actually sitting on a block with your knees forward. So easiest pose is just cross-legged, but you come into the position that feels just comfortable for you. So this is all about comfort. We're going to reach back and just make sure we've got good contact with the sit bones on the mat. We're going to stack the spine, and we're going to float the hands on the knees. And then take a great big breath in, and when you inhale, take the shoulders and bring them up towards the ears. Big breath in. And then as you exhale, roll the shoulders back and let the elbows start to soften towards the waist. And when we do that, the scapulas, the shoulder blades start to melt together and they just open up a bit more. We're going to do that again. Big breath in, bring the shoulders up to the ears. Exhale, roll the shoulders back. Last time, big breath in. Exhale, roll the shoulders back. Just take a moment, close the eyes. We're nice and stacked in the spine. That means the core is engaged. The shoulders are soft, rolling back. And just take a moment to do a quick inventory of the body. Whether you want to start from the toe to the top of the head, working your way in the opposite direction, just checking in with how everything's feeling, how the muscles are feeling, how the joints are feeling. And areas where there's tightness or tension, can you direct the breath there to create a little bit more space, a little bit more softness? And now go ahead and open the eyes and just take the gaze straight ahead. Your chin is parallel to the floor. You're going to take a great big breath in, and as you do, you're going to send the gaze up and start to send the chin up towards the heaven, looking up. Exhale, drop the chin towards the chest. Let that chin get heavy. Feel a nice stretch through the back of the neck. Inhale, bring the chin up. Exhale, drop the chin to the chest, as close to the chest as you can. We're going to do that one more time. Big breath in. Exhale, chin to chest. Now leave that chin at the chest, and we're going to go ahead and drag that chin off to the right. And while that chin gets heavy there, just let that left shoulder soften a little bit more and gaze down at that right shoulder. Now remember, this is a personal practice, so anything that feels good in the body, you're going to stick with it. If something doesn't feel good in the body, don't do it. There's 100 different options. Well, maybe not that many, but an awful lot. So if something feels good, it's good to go. If something doesn't feel good, cease and desist. Go ahead and unmute, ask me a question, I'll give you the other option. So now while that chin is heavy towards the shoulder, we're going to drag that chin along the chest, gazing down at the mat, and then send that chin towards the left shoulder. And now we're going to take a gaze over that left shoulder. And while we're stretching one side and the other side, pay attention to what's going on the right side versus the left side. Very telling on how we transport our bodies through the day, how we move, how we sit. And now drag that chin back through center and go ahead and float that chin back to parallel. We're going to take that left hand, we're just going to float it on the mat. Take a great big breath in. Think about growing a little taller through the spine. And then as you exhale, start to drop that right ear heavy towards the right shoulder. And now walk the fingers away and start to press the earth away as we let that right ear get a little heavier. We're going to give you a second option. So option one, left fingers on the mat, press the mat away. If you're sitting on a block, that might be awkward. All you have to do is take that right hand on top of the head and gently encourage, not push, gently encourage right ear and right shoulder a little closer. So whatever option feels a little more comfortable is the one you're going to take. Now go ahead, release that, come on back to center. We're just going to switch that up. So now you know where you want to, whether you want that hand on the mat or whether you want that left hand on the head. Take a great big breath in as you exhale, float the left ear, left shoulder, and then knee beside. Gentle encouragement, push the mat away. You should feel a nice big stretching through the neck. A lot of people complaining about tech neck because we're spending so much time wrapped around technology. Hopefully we see a light at the end of the tunnel. And now come on back to center. We're going to go ahead and take that left hand onto the right knee. We're going to float that right hand behind us. And then just start to gaze over that right shoulder. And we're going to use that left hand as leverage to gaze back and twist a little deeper. Now, if you're on a block and this is difficult for you, you can come down onto your sit bones and just have your legs straight out and just put your hand to your thigh and gaze over your shoulders. We're just using that hand as leverage to take this twist to where it feels good. And now come on back to center. We're going to switch that up. So again, make any modifications that you need to feel comfortable. Float that right hand to that left knee or left thigh. Take that left hand behind you. Start to peek over that left shoulder and then use that right hand as leverage to take this twist a little deeper and gaze behind you. Nice. Beautiful. And now come on back to center. We're going to let that right hand just sit on the mat. We're going to float that left arm straight up along the ear. So keep that ear and arm quite tight together. Inhale, like we're going to touch the stars. And then as you exhale, we're going to start to walk those right fingers away and start to reach towards the left. Now the work here is to keep that left sit bone grounded. It's going to want to fly up because you're going to want to reach further. Don't let that happen. Glue that left cheek down. Float that left hand to the right. So the stretch is into the side body, into the obliques, into the intercostals. Big reach to the right. Go ahead, come on. Nice and tall. We're going to switch that up. We're going to float that left hand onto the mat. We're going to float that right arm straight up. So again, that ear and arm are nice and tight. Take a big breath in to reach up. And then as you exhale, you start to walk the hand away. Maybe the forearm comes to the mat. But again, don't let that right sit bone lift. We're glued down on the right as we reach to the left. Nice. And release, come back to center. We're just going to take our hands onto our knees and roll the shoulders back. 3 big shoulder rolls back. 2, 1, and 3 big shoulder rolls forward. Now go ahead and take the hands in front of the torso, just in front of the shins. Again, the work is to keep the sit bones glued to your mat. We're going to start to walk the hands away. We're going to start to float that heart a little closer to the mat. And again, the work here is to keep the connection with the sit bones as we send the energy out through the fingers and we melt the heart down. And let the neck relax. I'm just looking up so I can watch you. But you want to let that neck relax. You're probably gazing a little forward or straight down. Big stretch. And now walk the arms back. Once again, nice stack spine. We're going to float that right arm straight out. Spread the fingers a lot. That arm is parallel to the floor. And then on the exhale, we're going to float that arm closer to the body. Now, option 1, you can hold the wrist with your hand, or you can take that arm into your elbow, whatever works. All we're doing is encouraging that right arm a little closer. Try not to twist through the body. We want to be nice and stacked through the spine. Now start to gaze behind that right shoulder or off to the right. Spread the fingers a lot like you want to reach for something. And now release that, bring that right arm straight forward, parallel to the floor, float the arm up. We're gonna flip the palm so the palm is facing behind us. And then we're gonna drop that hand in between the shoulders. Now, if that's a big, long stretch, you've got your straps. So you can always take option one, strap in one hand, strap in the other hand, and we keep that arm nice and tight to the head, and in time, we start to walk the hands closer together. Option two, you can come into a clasp hand, which is a bind. And if that seems like a little too much stretching for the tricep, all you have to do is take that left hand to the elbow. And we want to keep that elbow as close to the ear as we can as we slide the hand in between the shoulders. And what you want to avoid is looking down. When you start to look down, you start to put a lot of pressure on that neck. We just did a nice stretch for that neck, so let's not do that. Gazes forward. And release. Switch it up. Float that left arm straight out. Spread the fingers. And allow that left arm to float towards the torso again. Nice stacked torso. You go ahead and use your hand or your elbow, start to gaze over that left shoulder. And really reach. And as you reach, you'll see that that stretch into the shoulder just increases just a bit more. And release, float that arm forward. Send the hands straight up, palm behind you. And then when you're ready, float that hand between the shoulder blades. Option one, hand to elbow. Two, you've got your strap. Three, you can bind. If you're binding, you can start to float the elbows back. But again, be mindful of the neck. Don't gaze down, gaze straight ahead, stack spine. And release that. When you get into the wrist, so go ahead and take that right arm straight out. The palm is facing the body. Fingers are pointing down. You're going to take your left hand and you're just going to gently encourage that palm a little closer to the forearm. Just like that. So again, not a lot of pressure, just a little bit. So that's one way of doing the stretch. Second way of doing the stretch, and really you can only do it if you're sitting on the mat, is to take the wrists close to the hips with palms up. So it's the exact same stretch here, but down here, palms are up, wrists are close to the body, and I'm stacked, wrist, elbows, and shoulders, and you can lean back. So once the shoulders start to go beyond the wrist, you get that stretch. So one option is to do it that way. This gives you a bit more control. You decide what feels better. But we're just getting a nice stretch through the wrist. And then we're going to go ahead and flip the palm away from the body. Again, if you're here, the palm is now facing down. So again, left hand onto palm, gently encourage a nice stretch to the front of that wrist. As the fingers melt towards the floor and soften towards the back of that arm. You can do this during the day if you're at your desk and you start getting cramps in your hands. Go ahead and release that, just give that hand a shake, give that wrist a shake, and make some circles with the wrists. Now switching directions. A little shake. Go ahead and relax that. We're going to go into the other side. Take that left arm straight out. Palm faces you. Again, if you prefer, you can have that hand on the mat. Gently encourage. Let's say force that hand back. Gently encourage. Notice which side's tighter. Which side is your dominant hand? Which side is your mouse hand? And these again are really simple to do during the day. Maybe some shoulder rolls at your desk. Now go ahead and take the palm away from the body. Start to open up to the front of that forearm. Melt the knuckles towards the arm. So if you're going to play any racket sports, any golf, these are great stretches to do beforehand, especially if you suffer from golfer's elbow or tennis elbow. Then go ahead and release that tension. We're going to send the legs straight out in front of us. So come down off your block. If you're on the block, just remove the block. Send the legs straight out. Keep your blocks and your straps handy. We're going to start with taking the strap around the ball mounds of both feet. Now I like to cross them just because I feel like I have more control. I'm sitting nice and stacked spine, taking the straps in either hand. Big breath in, grow a little taller, and on the exhale, start to soften the heart towards the thighs. And we use the strap, again, just as leverage. And if you don't need a strap, you don't need a strap. Just soften the heart. And think of sending the energy to the top of the head, out first, and then soften. And just pause here, hold. Exhale, come on up. We're going to bend that knee again. You've got your strap as an option. Option one, you're going to bend that knee and you're clasp the outside of that foot. We're just going to pedal the foot. Now, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, then you always can use your strap in your hand. Straps just make your arms longer. If you want to send that send that leg a little further, you need the strap, go ahead and use it. But just nice and slow, send that leg away. And then bring that knee behind the shoulder. And back. Let's do one more count. And take advantage of the fact that that leg is pressed away. Get that nice stretch through the lats and to the top of the back. And now go ahead and take that right foot onto the mat on the outside of the left leg. You want the foot, the entire sole of the foot has to be on the mat, as close to the hip as that can happen. So if your leg raises, just bring your foot a little closer to the knee. But as long as that foot is flat, it's closer to the hip. Now, give that right thigh a little hug, grow a little taller in the spine, root down through the right foot, and hug that leg in a little closer to the chest. And what you should feel is this beautiful release, this beautiful stretch through that right glute and hamstring. Hold here. And relax. We're going to go ahead, again, another option. Easier option is to take the right hand onto that left shoulder. We're going to come into a twist. Or if you'd like, we're going to go ahead and take that left elbow to the right knee. So either float the left hand to right shoulder or left elbow to right knee. We're going to float that right hand behind us. Again, grow a little taller, gaze over that right shoulder. So this left arm is just leverage, again, to take this twist to where it feels good. Hold here as we gaze behind us. And release. Come back. We're going to go ahead and take that right ankle onto that left thigh. And just let that leg get heavy. Once again, we're going to take the right hand onto that knee, and again, gentle encouragement. Soften that knee a little closer to the mat. Really tiny effort. You should feel a nice opening to that right hip. You don't have to press far. And now pull all 10 toes towards the shin so we activate the calf. Take a great big breath in, grow a little taller, and as you exhale, start to melt the heart towards the legs. Just come as far as you can, as far as it feels good. But as you send the heart forward in your reach, you should feel a nice opening and release again through that right glute, right hip flexor. So just come to the stretch that feels good. Hold on for 3, for 2, and 1. We're going to go ahead and send that right leg straight down the mat. And now float that left leg closer. Again, you've got the option of strapping that foot or taking the hand to the other side of that left foot. Send the leg away, and a nice stretch into the back. Send that knee behind the shoulder. Just pedaling out, popping the foot, popping the leg. Last one. And then go ahead and float that left foot over the right leg. Now we know what we're doing, the exact same thing. So again, you decide where that foot is as close to the hip, as long as the entire foot is on the mat. Grow a little taller, hugging that left. And again, just check in with that left glute, that left hamstring and hip flexor. Is it a little more open or is it a little tighter than the other side? So when we want to create new muscle memory, we want to lengthen. It's a really nice idea to hold for about 20 seconds. And go ahead and release that. Again, you can take your right hand to left shoulder or right elbow to left knee, but we float that left hand behind us and come into the twist that feels good. So again, either using that elbow as leverage or that hand to the shoulder. We look behind us, twist a little deeper. It should feel nice on the spine. If it bothers your spine, relax. And then go ahead and release, going back to center. We're going to go ahead and float that left ankle on the right thigh. Once again, just gently encourage that left knee a little closer to the mat. Toes to the shin, calf working. And then with that next exhale, once again, start to soften the heart towards the legs. And you may not have to go far to feel a really big stretch. So if your body is telling you what it needs, listen to it. Get out of your head. Body will always let you know what it needs. And slowly come on up. And send that leg straight out. Just give those legs a little shake. You're going to take that strap onto the ball mount of both feet one more time. Take a great big breath in. And as you exhale, once again, soften heart to thigh. So coming into a forward fold. Just come as far as it feels good. Root down through the sit bones, send the energy out to the top of the head. Maybe get a little longer. Hold here. And release. We're going to come into a wide-legged stance, which means we're going to separate our feet. So take the strap onto the right foot. And we're just going to send the legs in opposite directions, coming into a wide-legged stance. So the strap is on the right foot. We're going to hold on to the strap with both hands. We're going to turn to face that right leg and then start to walk hard towards that leg. Now, here's what's going to happen. That left cheek's going to want to float up. Don't let that happen. Glue that left hip down. You might not be able to go as far, but you get a better stretch. Just breathe into that. Release, come on. We're going to take the strap now in the right hand. Sorry, in the left hand. My apologies. And we're going to take that left elbow up towards the heavens. So again, above the head. The right hand is going to be onto the mat, palm up. And maybe this is your stretch here. Maybe you just start to open up and gaze up towards the ceiling, sitting that elbow straight up to the heart. But if it's available to you, we're going to start to walk the hands down the strap, coming into a side body stretch. Again, we're gazing up towards the heavens, big stretch through the side body, but only come to that stretch that feels good for you. Just hold here. And release. We're just gonna take the strap from the right foot to the left foot. Turn to face that left leg, take the strap in both hands. Take a great big breath in as you exhale, bow with that. Again, that right sit bone's gonna want to float up now. A little rounding down. That stretch that feels good. So again, you might notice that one side is a little more open than the other. It's not unusual at all. We're not very symmetrical creatures. Charming as heck, but not symmetrical. Go ahead, come on and float away from that leg. We're going to take the strap in the right hand, right elbow towards the hands. Take that left arm, back that left arm, palm up on that. And then once again, we just start to open up the heart towards the heaven. So without doing anything, this is a big stretch into that side body. But if you have it in you and you want a little bit more, we walk the hands down the strap. We keep gazing up towards the heavens and forward. Let's go as far as it makes sense for you today. We don't feel the same from day to day. That's why we do this little check-in at the beginning of class. And now release that. Go ahead and take the strap away. We're going to take the arms out, sorry, the hands outside the legs, just to bring the legs together. We're going to come onto all fours. Wrists, elbows, and shoulders are stacked. Knees are directly underneath the hips. The top of the feet are just resting on the mat. And if that bothers your ankle bone, you can just curl your toes under. So it's a personal preference here. We're going to come into cat-cow. So as we do that, we inhale. We melt the belly. Let the belly get heavy. It melts towards the mat. I pick up my tail, my gaze, and my shoulder. And then on the exhale, I drop the chin heavy to the chest. Push the mat away and puff that back up like an angry cat. So we're articulating the spine here. Inhale. Exhale. That's it. I thought we were frozen. Keep going. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Big breath in. So as you look up, you should feel a nice stretch through the belly. And then as you exhale, chin to chest, puff that back up like an angry cat. And we're going to come on back into all fours. We're going to float that right leg up, almost like a donkey, but we're just going to make circles. So we're going to make circles forward. We're going to bring that leg up so it's parallel. Float the knee forward, bring it towards the body, and send it back. So again, just circles. We're just lubricating the hip joints here. That's it. Now go ahead and relax that. You're going to take that left leg. Sorry, we were working our right side. I said take that right leg straight back. And now float that right leg over that left. The top of the foot is on the mat. We're just going to slide back. And when we do that, we're coming into a modified pigeon. So as I slide back, I melt my heart towards my leg. Just soften. Now, if you're on your forearms, that's your stretch. If you want to take a block underneath the forearms, that's fine too. What you want to avoid here is letting that right hip drop towards the mat. So you're keeping your hips nice and square. And in this position, the left toes are pointed forward. Energy's forward, hips are square. I'm pressing the top of that left foot into the mat. I should feel a big stretch into that left foot. And now release that. Come on back to all fours. We're just going to switch it up. We're going to take it to the left side. So once again, float that left leg up, forward, immediately, and back. So just circles. You can take this slow, you can take this fast. So just by rotating through the hip girdle, again, just lubricating the joints. And you'll go ahead and rest that knee down. And then we're just going to send that leg straight back. It crosses over that right foot. Float that left leg back. Soften the heart towards the mat. So just again, take the stretch to where it feels good. But don't get lazy and drop off on that hip. This is a modified pigeon. Can everyone see that? Basically, in pigeon, it's straight back. We're modifying it so it's a little bit easier. So it's not as intense. Last breath here. Come on up. We're going to take it to our knees. Nice and tall here. Going into a stretch for the quadriceps. If you know you have really tight quadriceps, we're going to take a block in between the ankles. And if it's available to you, you're going to sit on that block. Now, if one block isn't enough, take 2 blocks. So if you're up a little higher, this is hero pose. All we're going to do is take the hands behind you and you're going to press the knees into the mat a lot. So if you're on one block, same thing, you're going to press back. You might be able to go a little bit further, but you're not going to be able to go much further than that. The work though here is to press the knees into the mat. Now, if there's nothing underneath the tush and you're sitting in between your heels, you can take this all the way down to a flat back if it's available to you. So the work here is to keep the knees straight. Don't let them splay open. And regardless of where the body is, how close or how far from the mat, we're all doing the same thing. We're trying to send the energy down the quadriceps, into the knees, into the mat. And that's what's helping to open up to the front of the quadriceps. Let's hold here for a few more breaths. So if your stretch is here, that's your stretch. You're pressing your knees into the mat. That's all you're doing. And then go ahead and release that. And we're just going to come up onto our knees. Bring our legs together. And we're going to sit back and bring our tushes to our heels. Shell pose. So we've made this lovely little ramp with our legs for our torso. And we're going to go ahead and drape the torso over the legs. Forehead is going to be on the mat or on a block. And then we're going to go ahead and float our arms behind us, palms up. This gives you a bit more room in through the shoulder. So we're essentially, for the yogis in the room, shell pose is a close-legged child's pose. And it's just an opportunity to take a breath. And now start to pull the heart away. Mat, start from your thighs, and we're just going to make our way onto our tush. So again, we really need our blocks, we need our straps, so keep everything handy. We're going to start by just sending the spine onto the mat. So a couple different options. If you want to make it a little more difficult, you can just have your legs straight out. So we're going to take it nice and slow. But if you have any lower back issues, or you don't want it to be as hard, you're going to have your feet on the mat. We're going to take it nice and slow. Bringing the spine to the mat. And then when the spine arrives on the mat, we're going to float the knees to the chest. Again, we're going to take take the fingers onto the shins, or you can take a strap around the shins. You decide. And then we're just going to roll from side to side. And notice where you feel the massage, probably in through that sacral area, lower part of the spine. And now just start to float the knees a little closer to the chest. And now as you roll from side to side, see if you notice a change in where you're feeling that massage into the spine. Now come on back to center. You're gonna take your hands onto your knees. We're gonna make circles with our knees. So we're gonna keep the knees together. Because when we keep the knees together, we work more in the back, and then we're gonna get into the hips momentarily. So we're just gonna make circles with the knees. It doesn't matter which direction you start in. We're gonna go into both momentarily. So again, we're just making circles. Should feel a nice massage into that lower back. You decide how big, how small, how slow, how fast those circles are. But go ahead and switch directions. Now come on back to center. We're going to keep one hand on each knee, and we're going to go ahead and separate the knees slightly, and we're going to make circles independently down at the knees. So again, now you notice that we're lubricating the hip sockets. So we did that on our hands and knees. Now we're just taking that range of motion just a little bit further. Go ahead and switch directions. And now go ahead and bring those legs together. These are floating above the hips. We're going to send the arms out to the sides. They can be in a T or a stop sign, whatever's comfortable. We're just going to keep our shoulders nice and rounded on the mat. And with the next exhale, we're going to float the knees all the way to the right. Now, if that shoulder starts to lift, that's probably telling me I've gone far enough. So I can go ahead at this point and take a block or two underneath the knees. Now, if there's nothing stopping you, and you can keep those shoulders grounded, you can take those knees to the mat. Now, this position, the gaze is either straight up to the heavens or off in the opposite direction to the left. If you want a bit more, press that top knee into the bottom knee. See if you can get more stretch. Hold here. And now inhale, knees to center. And this time we're going to exhale, we're going to drop the knees to the left. So again, if you need to take a block underneath those knees, go ahead and do that. Keep the shoulders well grounded. Gaze is either straight up or off to the right. If you want more, press that top knee in the left. Let's here. We're going to keep that right knee where it is and place your fingers on that right shin. Just float that left leg down the mat. With that knee heavy to the chest, go ahead and your choice, either point and flex or make circles with the ankle. Whatever feels good. If you're making circles, go in both directions. And time and gravity, just let that leg get heavier and heavier. Hopefully start feeling more open in through the back of that leg. But take that left hand onto that left hip. Next exhale, we're going to start to float that right knee towards the outside of that right shoulder. So we're stretching that inner thigh here. What you want to avoid is that left hip popping up. Now, if it's troublesome to keep it down, you're going to bend that knee, take the foot onto the mat. Just let that knee get heavy. So it's melting towards the floor, but towards the outside of the shoulder. And now come on back to center. We're going to take the left hand to the outside of that right knee, right arm alongside of the body. Next exhale, we're going to float that top knee, that right knee towards the floor, coming into a twist. So once again, the work here is to try and keep the shoulders down. You can either let gravity give you a nice stretch, or you can take a block underneath that knee and push down. You decide. But we're taking that stretch, that twist even deeper, because now there's no obstruction underneath that knee. Hold here. And back to center. With that right leg, squeeze, send it down the mat. Place it with the left. Once again, interlace your fingers on that left shin, let that left leg get heavy. And now bring some movement into that. Whether you want again point flats or circles in both directions. And let that left knee get really heavy. And just notice what's going on in the back of the leg. So go ahead and put that right hand on that right hip to encourage it to stay down. And next, exhale, float that left knee heavy towards the mat, towards the outside of that left shoulder. So again, it's inner thigh stretch. We'll do one more inner thigh stretch before the end of the class. Exhale, come on back to center. Take the right hand to the outside of that left knee, left hand on the side of the body for balance. Let that left knee get heavy as you come to the twist. Again, keep the shoulders grounded. Release, coming back to center. Go ahead and leave that left foot on the mat. We're going to go ahead and bend that right knee, taking that right foot on the mat. Grab a block. We're going to go ahead and take that block in between the thighs. We're going to take the arms along the side of the body, palms down. And we're not going anywhere just yet. Take a great big breath in as you exhale, imprint. The entire spine should flatten out. You should feel the core engage. And when you feel that, you should feel the tailbone lift. Now, once the tailbone's already lifted, start to pull each of the vertebrae up one at a time. Squeeze into that block. Imagine two big strings on your hip bones pulling you up towards the heavens. Keep your gaze straight to the sky to keep your neck safe. Squeeze into that block. Root through the heels, send the hips up a little higher. Hold here. And now slowly we're going to come down one vertebrae at a time. Relax the back, that natural curve of the spine comes in. We're going to do that one more time. Big breath in as you exhale, imprint. Spine is flat, tailbone lifts. Pull each of the vertebrae up one at a time. Squeeze that block a lot. Root through the heels. And when you do, float the hips up a little higher. Now, if you're used to bridge pose and you want to take it a little deeper, you can interlace your fingers underneath your tush and roll to the outside of the shoulders, opening up to the heart a little bit more. And then when you're ready, slowly and mindfully, we're going to return the spine onto the mat. One vertebrae. And now go ahead and take your block. We're going to come into a supported bridge. So we're going to take this block and we're going to place it underneath our sacrum. And that's that large triangular bone that's just above the tailbone. So same thing happens here. We take the block alongside, whatever side your hand dominant. Imprint the spine before we move. Tailbone lifts, float the hips up. And now take the block at any height and place it underneath the sacrum. Take your arms on either side of the block, where you release your fingers in front of the block. That just keeps it safe. That means the block's not going to go flying out on you. Now we're going to do a couple of different options with this stretch. We're going to walk the feet out and then collapse the knees together. And you should feel a stretch into the outside of the hips. Just linger here. And as you relax the limbs of that weight on the sacrum, just it gets heavier, you feel more grounded, more rooted. Maybe you're starting to soften through the hips a little bit. We're going to start to pull the knees apart and start to walk the feet back in line with the hips. Just pause here. And now keeping that left foot well grounded on the mat, we're going to start to send that right leg away from the body. And maybe heel comes to float onto that mat. And you should feel a nice opening through the front of that right hip flexor. So instead of it being an aggressive stretch to that hip flexor today, taking it nice and slow. Give you a couple of different options here. So we're going to go ahead and walk that right leg back in. Take that right foot on the foot, feel grounded, and then go ahead and walk that left leg out. Now, some people like to do this with both legs out. I personally don't. It bothers my lower back. But that's an option for you if you've got a good solid back. I just don't like it personally. I feel like I'm always wanting to hold a position, whereas here I can just let everything go. That's the beauty of a relaxing stretch. We're not forcing it. We're using gravity and allowing it to do its thing here. And now go ahead and start to walk that left foot back. So the heels are relatively close to the bush. You can just flick your heels with your fingers. We're going to start to mimic legs up the wall. So this is an option. If you want to stay where you are, you can. If you want to, we can float one leg up and the second leg up to mimic legs up the wall. We're just here for a couple of breaths, but this is a restorative pose and I wanted to show it to you. You actually would do this against a wall. You can do it in this position as well. And we're just giving gravity a break here. We're giving the legs a break as reverse gravity, I should say. And turn the heart gets a break. And then mindfully, you're going to bring one leg down at a time, bending one knee, sending one foot onto the mat, bending the other knee, sending the other foot onto the mat. Root down through the heels, float the hips up, take the block away, send the sit bones to the mat, spine to the mat, and now take the knees to the chest. Think yourself a rocking roll from side to side. Just notice how that back is feeling. We're going to come into happy baby. So again, you've got the option of using your strap. And in happy baby, the knees are on either side of the torso. We start to float the feet towards the heavens. So if you can't comfortably reach up and grab the outside of your feet, you're just going to take your strap across the ball onto the feet and hold the strap in either hand. And if the strap is in either hand, you're going to send one leg away. See how that feels like it's stretched. Send the other leg away. You don't have to straighten your leg. You're just sending the legs away. And if you're not using your strap in your hands or on the outside of your feet, same thing. Send one leg away. Send the other leg away. One more each side. And now keep the knees bent. And again, we're just going to encourage the knees a little closer to the floor, but just putting a little more pressure on the arches of the feet. Opening up through hamstrings a little bit more. And now go ahead and take this roll from side to side. Remembering that the more the tailbone lifts, the higher up the spine we get that massage. And now coming back to center, we're going to release the clasp on the feet and allow the feet to come back onto the mat. We're going to go ahead and take our right leg and cross it over our left. We're going to start to float the knees a little closer to the chest. Let the knees get heavy. Now, you may feel that this is just enough of the stretch. We're going to get into that right hip and right glute a little bit more. If it's available to you, we're going to start to walk the hands away from the knees. Maybe they come to the shins, maybe they come down to the ankles. And what we're going to do is start to float those knees a little closer to the chest as the tailbone lifts off the mat. And then maybe the feet melt further away. But you should feel a big, juicy stretch in through that right glute, right hip. The more that tailbone floats up, or the more the knees melt to the chest, the more the feet melt further apart from each other, the deeper the stretch goes. So again, take the stretch to where it feels good for you. Send the breath to those areas where there's still some tightness. And release that. We're just going to switch it up. So uncross the legs. And now take the left leg over right. Once again, start to send the knees to the chest. Hands to the knees. And now melt the knees a little closer to the heart. You decide where those hands go. Come into the stretch on this side that feels good. And notice the difference between the right side and the left side. And release that. Uncross the legs, knees to the chest one last time. And we'll rock and roll. We're going to go ahead. We're going to send the arms out either a T or a stop sign. We're going to change them momentarily. And we're going to drop the knees one last time to the right. Coming into a twist. But this time we're going to float that left arm palm up, straight back. So that left arm is close to that left ear. And I'm going to reach back with my right hand. I'm going to, again, gently encourage that left arm further away from the body. And I'm going to press my knees into the mat. Getting a big side body stretch here. And release that. So release the clasp. Let the arms relax. Inhale, knees to center. Exhale, float the knees off to the left. And now send that right arm straight back. Reach back with that left hand. Clasp that wrist. Gently encourage the arm away. Press the knees into the mat. And release. Come back to center. Take the feet onto the mat. And we're going to start to bring the soles of the feet together. So again, you decide how close or how far away those feet are going to be, but have your blocks handy. And end with two little restorative poses here. So soles of the feet are together. And we're just going to start to let the knees soften towards the mat. So again, it doesn't matter how close or how far the heels are away from the torso. You just want to, again, let gravity do its thing here. And now take your blocks and you're going to place them underneath your thighs at any height. Support the legs. So again, we're taking this more to a restorative. Take the right hand on the belly, take the left hand on the heart, close the eyes. We started with a journey around the body. We're going to end that way as well. Again, whether you want to start from the top of the head or the tips of the toes, we're going to work in the opposite direction. Checking in with how the body's feeling now. Does it feel a little more open? Did you find some areas that are a little tight that you didn't realize were tight? Did you uncover something about how you move through the body? How you move your body through the day, I should say.
But hopefully you'll take one little pearl away with this that you'll be able to apply that to your day. Maybe it's a stretch that you can do during the day. Maybe it's just something that you notice in the body. Just let that settle with you. Take a great big breath in, and as you do, and the body fills with air, feel the belly rise, feel the lungs rise. And then with each exhale, let everything just settle. Spine get heavy to the mat. And again, inhale. Feel the fullness of the torso. Exhale. Feel the heaviness in the spine. And just observe. So if you're really comfortable here, you can go ahead and stay here, but we're going to move towards Final Shavasana. This will be one option. Option two will be to reach down, bring the knees together, just send the legs straight out with nothing underneath them. Third option would be to take your blocks and place them underneath the knees. And the fourth option is more of a heart opener for the chest. And if you're going to go with that one, then you're going to take one block between the shoulder blades, right around bra line. And you're going to take the second block underneath the head. So it looks like this. You're basically making a T with your blocks. And then you're lying down on this, great for the shoulders and for the chest. So again, right around bra line mark, sorry guys. That's a good way to do it though. And the block is between the shoulder blades. And then you just figure out where that second block needs to be to support the head. Take the arms alongside of the body, palms up, which gives a nice opening through the shoulders. And you can send your legs straight down. Close your eyes. Connect with the breath. We quiet everything down. We quiet the mind. We quiet the body. We let the body just be able to absorb all the good of its practice tonight. Completely surrender. Make sure there's no tension in your face, no furrowed brow, no clenched jaw. Maybe the mouth softly opens a bit. Maybe that tongue goes forward in the mouth a little bit. Maybe the eyes settle a little deeper in their sockets. And with each exhalation, you'll just go deeper into your You are slowly, kindly, gently going to start to introduce some movement back into the body. And no need to move with any haste. Maybe it feels good to wiggle fingers and toes. Maybe it feels good to bring some movement into wrists and ankles. Perhaps a gentle nod of the head from side to side. And then when you're ready, and certainly without any haste, you guys move really quick. Without any haste, we'll make our way to a comfortable seated position. And seated with a nice tall stacked spine, bringing hands to heart center, a gentle bow of the head, giving thanks that we were well enough to make it to our mats, that we had the initiative to do so.